Receive the highest value and unmatched security for the remittance sent by your loved ones abroad from People's Bank. Get extra 10 rupees for every dollar and receive a refund of transaction fees up to rupees 1,000 when depositing funds to a rupee account. Receive the highest value and unmatched security for the remittance sent by your loved ones abroad from People's Bank. Get extra 10 rupees for every dollar and receive a refund of transaction fees up to rupees 1,000 when depositing funds to a rupee account.
In a few moments, the news.
Receive the highest value and unmatched security for the remittance sent by your loved ones abroad from People's Bank.
This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Tilani Piris. The Justice Minister says the government is not prepared to interfere with the judiciary according to the needs of foreign elements. The Committee on Public Petitions hold discussions to expedite resolving public petitions. An enjoining order issued against the Government Nursing Officers Association. TikToker harassing wild elephant in Habarana arrested and fined. And on foreign news, more countries in Southeast Asia relax border controls. And on sports news, Six Nations Rugby 2022, Scotland makes 5 changes for trip to face Wales. Minister Ali Sabri says the executive, legislature and judiciary should be made stronger to strengthen democracy in the country. He said in Parliament today that governing and opposition members should be committed to the independence of the judiciary. He further said the government is not prepared to interfere with the judiciary according to the needs of foreign elements. The Member of Parliament Jagat Pushpakumara was unanimously elected as the chairman of the Committee on Public Petitions for the second session of the 9th Parliament today. The Committee of Selection appointed other members to the committee as well. Discussions were held by the committee on how to pay special attention to the petitions submitted to it and how to connect directly with the public. Committee on Public Petitions also discussed to meet 2 or 3 days a week during the sessions of Parliament to expedite the process of resolving public petitions. The District Court of Colombo has issued an enjoining order against the Government Nursing Association and its chairman Saman Ratnapriya called for the immediate suspension of their trade union action. The District Court of Colombo has issued an enjoining order against the Government Nursing Officers Association and its chairman Saman Ratnapriya called for the immediate suspension of their trade union action. The enjoining order was issued after a request made by the Attorney General. The Attorney General appraised the court of the current deplorable conditions at hospitals due to patient care that has gravely affected. The District Court issued 2 enjoining orders preventing the unions from continuing the trade union strike, which puts the lives of the patients at risk. The jeep driver who was involved in a TikTok video seen harassing a wild elephant on the Trincomalee-Habarana road was arrested by the wildlife officials. The video of the TikToker harassing a wild elephant in Habarana had sparked outrage not only on social media but also on international media a few weeks ago. Wildlife officials said the suspect was produced before the Kakirava Magistrates Court today and released after being fined 200,000 rupees. The suspect is a resident of Kakirava. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Get extra 10 rupees for every dollar and receive a refund of transaction fees up to rupees 1,000 when depositing funds to a rupee account from People's Bank.
MP Professor Tissa Vithanana was elected as the chairman of the Committee on Public Accounts for the second session of the 9th Parliament. Professor Tissa Vithanana's name was proposed by State Minister Dasiri Jayasekara and seconded by MP Ashok Kabir-Singh at the inaugural committee meeting of the second session of the 9th Parliament held today at the Parliament premises. Professor Tissa Vithanana also served as the chairman of the COPA during the first session of the 9th Parliament. Minister Kaylee Rambukwala says the government encourages the people to get the COVID vaccine when people in other countries request their governments to give them the jab. The minister mentioned this when he met Secretary General of International Federation of the Red Cross, Jagan Shapgan, today. He said the steps taken by the government to give 3 vaccine doses control the spreading of the pandemic in the country. The State Minister Shehan Semasinga says the government will not allow any injustice to be caused to the workers. He said in Parliament today that the Good Governance government increased VAT by 4% and burdened the people. He said the previous government created a foreign reserve crisis in the country. That ends local news for now.
Get extra 10 rupees for every dollar and receive a refund of transaction fees up to rupees 1,000 when depositing funds to a rupee account from People's Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
A series of programs has been organized to mark 70 years of diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and Japan. The State Minister Tharaka Balasurya said it will be organized together with the Japanese Embassy in Sri Lanka. During a media briefing in Colombo, he said the programs have been organized to further strengthen relations between the two countries, contributing to economic development. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on Watchlight tonight, the Colombo Stock Exchange is in the process of admitting new trading members to the Colombo Stock Exchange under revised criteria to carry out purchase transactions on debt securities on the over-the-counter platform of the Colombo Stock Exchange. Interested applicants applying for the new trading memberships to carry out repurchase transactions on debt securities on the over-the-counter platform of the Colombo Stock Exchange should complete the application form, which is available on the Colombo Stock Exchange website www.csc.lk, and forward the duly completed application as per the procedure mentioned in the general section of the application. That came to you in Watchlight. Coming up, world news and the headlines first. More countries in Southeast Asia relax border controls. Russian and British foreign ministers meet over Ukraine but fail to narrow gap. Canada trucker protests force car plants shutdowns. More countries in Southeast Asia are relaxing coronavirus border controls as they try to promote economic recovery. The Philippines today started to welcome back foreign visitors, marking the end of an entry ban that had been in place for nearly 2 years. Meanwhile, in Malaysia, the government's advisory body suggested that the country fully reopen to international travellers as early as March 1st. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss have held talks in Moscow as part of diplomatic efforts to ease the tension over Ukraine. But they failed to narrow their differences. Their meeting today came amid the escalating tension around Ukraine, with Russia amassing troops along its border with the neighbor. Lavrov later told reporters that Russia does not threaten anyone, rather it is being threatened. Two of the world's biggest car makers, Ford and Toyota, say production is being disrupted by trucker protests in Canada. Plants have been forced to shut because car parts are being held up at 2 U.S. border points blocked by truckers protesting against a vaccine mandate. Canada's Transport Minister Omar Al-Gabra called it an illegal economic blockade against all Canadians. Back to the world news headlines. More countries in Southeast Asia relax border controls. Russian and British foreign ministers meet over Ukraine but fail to narrow gap. Canada trucker protests force car plants shutdowns. That ends world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take coal out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Moving on with development news, a delegation headed by Deputy Director General for Administration and Financial Affairs of the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development, Nedal Al-Olayan, visited Sri Lanka recently to sign a loan agreement to construct and equip the medical facility at the University of Moratua. He assured Kuwait support for prioritized development projects in Sri Lanka. That came to you in Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
And on sports news, it's rugby today. Injured flanker Jamie Richer has been ruled out for the remainder of the Six Nations as Scotland make 5 changes for Saturday's game in Wales. Ritchie, who has had surgery on the hamstring injury sustained in last weekend's opening win over England, is replaced by Sam Skinner. Edinburgh pair Pierre Showman and W.P. Nell join hooker Stuart McInally in a new-look front row. That was sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Venture Engine Sri Lanka's pioneering startup acceleration program has entered the final phase of its 10th edition with the selection of its top 10 grouping of finalists. The program's next and final stage is a showcasing of these finalists to potential investors as Sri Lanka's top fundable startups at the Venture Engine finale, which is slated for the 23rd of February 2022. That came to you in Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
The central bank reiterated that Sri Lanka is committed to honour all forthcoming debt obligations and thereby maintaining the country's unblemished record of debt servicing. It rejected recent media reports which claim that Sri Lanka is at the verge of sovereign default. It pointed out Sri Lanka successfully settled a $500 million international sovereign bond that matured in January 2022, despite the adverse speculation in certain quarters that such settlement would not be possible. That was economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
And finally, the weather report. The Met Department says cloudy skies will prevail over the northern and eastern provinces. Showers will occur at times in the northern, north central, eastern and Nuva provinces and in Hambantota and Matale districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places elsewhere during the evening or night. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places. That was the weather report. And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. The Justice Minister says the government is not prepared to interfere with the judiciary according to the needs of foreign elements. The Committee on Public Petition holds discussions to expedite resolving public petitions. An enjoining order issued against the Government Nursing Officers Association. TikToker harassing wild elephant in Habarana arrested and fined. And on foreign news, more countries in South East Asia relax border controls. And on sports news, Six Nations Rugby 2022, Scotland makes 5 changes for trip to face Wales. That ends this news broadcast, and now it's back to Mariella Van Dort on a Thursday night